What's up, y'alls? We're back. We're back at the Solomon Project, where it's not how much you make that counts. I'm your host, Richard Burns. I am in Chicago. I will be exiting Chicago very soon. I was hoping to record from the time I entered Chicago on I-90. However, I had to take care of some business, and as a result, I wasn't able to. But take a good look. This is Chicago, and we have a reasonably decent health stream, so we'll be able to carry on. In the description below, as always, there are 3 brokerages you can click on the link and open up accounts with, if you so choose. Financial or investment advice. But we have, let's see, what is it that, okay, we have Webull, we have Moomoo, crazy name, I can't get over that name, Moomoo, and we have Acorns. If you have any questions about how either one of those platforms perform or how they're used, feel free to ask. And we have 2 content creators. I have more content creators in the description, but the 2 content creators I'm mentioning right now are entrepreneurs who have their own businesses. The All Bomb Lady, she has her own channel and her own product line. And Tara Helms, aka the Professor, who makes handmade soaps. The name of her business is Sugar and Pluto. Yeah, I drew a blank there for a second. My apologies, Professor. However, any questions about their product lines, you can always go on their channel, subscribe, and in the comment section you can ask whatever question you need answered. Uh-oh, why is the stream health going out? It's not going out, it's low. What's that all about? Not sure. Well, let's have a look, see. The main question I had to resolve something there quickly. I remember last time I recorded, I had my headset on and I was listening to myself while I was recording, and I was able, when I watched the video later on, I could hear myself. So same thing was happening right now, right here, right now. Hey! See, I wasn't prepared. I got hammered. Professor, how are you? You are the Jacuzzi part. I lost connection for a second there, so I don't know if you guys are able to. Okay, here we go. That's one of the complications of streaming while you're on the road. Sometimes you wind up in places that the connection doesn't necessarily go through from the towers. Yeah, I froze for a hot second there. Let's see, I gotta continue on I-90 East, y'alls. I-90 East. Oh, you customized it. Nice. Why is this guy blowing his horn? Okay. Not sure what this guy is doing. Blowing his horn next to me. They'll do that every now and then. Okay, you got free reign, dude. Go right ahead. Go at the speed you want. I'm keeping it within the speed limit. Some of these truckers with less experience, they want to go as fast as they can. They'll go above the speed limit without thinking about what could happen should there be an incident involved with himself or herself and another vehicle or another object. You see, what happens is that there's an investigation. Usually from the insurance company, they demand an investigation, and they'll plug into your computer, the computer of the truck. They'll plug in and they'll extract the information that they need for their investigation. And if they notice that the coordinates for the time frame that they're looking at shows that you're going at a certain speed, and they check the area for the speed limit, and they see that you're exceeding the speed of the segment of road that they're analyzing, then you, as a Class A CDL driver, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. In one way, shape, or form, you're in trouble. And those troubles are expensive. So let them do their thing. I don't know if they watch any trucking content or not, and if they do, I don't know if any of these content creators that they watch reinforce the type of driving that they should be driving. Hey, Sunflower. Oh my God, 2 large sausages with cheese and crackers too? Tell you what, when those large sausages arrive, he's gonna be a happy camper. D is gonna absolutely love those 2 large sausages for sure. I just hope he records an unpacking of what you sent them, Professor. That would be amazing. I want to see that big smile. I want to see him holding the sausages in his hand with a big smile on his face. That's what I want to see. Yeah, so we got to hop off 90 and get on 94 East because we're avoiding the tolls. That's the whole purpose of getting off 90 onto 94. Oh, he's going to be amazed. He's going to be amazed. I hope he doesn't open up the package without filming. Or and then and have the camera facing him is because once, yeah, I just want to see that smile on his face. And then the camera could pan down to his hand gripping that meat, you know? Yeah. The most expensive tolls, Professor, that the last time I saw, from the time I looked into it until now, the prices could have gone up many different places. But if the one that I'm going to mention went up along with everybody else, then it's still the most expensive, and that's the Turnpike in Pennsylvania, I-76. OMG. That is big time. Yeah, Professor, don't be eating or drinking around me when I'm doing it. No, that goes. IPC, y'alls know what IPC is? Interpersonal communications. IPC. In corrections, the ability to use IPC is of extreme importance. Extreme importance. IPC, interpersonal communication skills. And that's what distinguishes a good officer from a not so good officer. Their ability to implement IPC, interpersonal communications. No, that wasn't a cop van, or was it? No. No, I didn't see any cop vans, and that's something that I suspect all truckers are always looking around to see if there is one around or not. Because every time we get pulled over, it's a huge expense. Depending on how seriously they want to locate some kind of violation on the truck or whatever. It's a very expensive ordeal for us and for the company. So we're always on the lookout. We're always checking our mirrors. Well, you should be checking your mirrors constantly, like every 3 to 5 seconds. And some truck drivers get jammed up because, let's say for example, there's an officer with the disco lights on. Usually when they want to pull over a truck, they don't have the lights on and stay directly behind the truck because they know that the truck driver can't see who's directly behind them unless they're far enough back. But if the cop wants to pull up close to the truck and give them an indication that they want them to pull over, what they'll do is they'll cradle the lane that the truck is in, along with the lane directly to the left. They'll have half the vehicle in the left lane to the truck and half the vehicle directly behind the truck. That way the truck can catch him in the mirror and know that he wants to pull him. Now, what often happens is if the trucker hasn't been checking his mirrors and the see that he should, the cop will be behind him for a while, and if you're not putting your directional signals on after a certain amount of time, the cop will suspect that you're not checking your mirrors. So when you finally realize that the cop is there and you got your directional signal on to go into the shoulder, then the cop will ask some kind of question, like, why did it take you so long to pull over? Well, depending on how the truck driver responds, the officer will know that, or he'll get confirmation that you haven't been checking your mirrors. Okay, so then that's a ticket right there. Yeah. So, interpersonal communication skills. It doesn't just help in the correctional environment. It helps in the business world. It helps at home with the family as well. Interpersonal communication skills. And if you have children that are becoming teens, it would be a very good idea for you to do whatever you need to do to learn how to improve your interpersonal communicative skills. And that would require for you to be honest with yourself and admit that that's an area that you can use help with. In many cases, people do need help with communicating. I was watching a content creator that was, what was it that he was doing? He was reacting to a documentary about a specific book that was not part of the Bible, but he was listening to a documentary. And on 2 occasions, I caught him saying something, his interpretation of something that was off, incorrect. It really was. Now, here's something to consider as far as interpersonal communications goes. When people speak, they assume that you are, hey Brandon, they assume, from the SIP, how are you? So when people speak, they assume that, and depending on the, it's your day off? Okay, I gotta be careful with the comments because I'm driving, so I can't stare at the screen. I can glance, but I gotta keep the eyes moving. So they might listen, hears now. Consider this when you're texting or you're writing something, as opposed to speaking to someone. When you're speaking to someone face to face, there are things that are going on that a person has to assume when they're reading something. They're reading a message. But when you're face to face, you see their eyes, you see their face, you see their body. Part of the communication process. The look in their eye, something, how they respond, the that they make, whether they're smiling, you perceive the smile to be a cover for what they're really feeling. It may not look like a it may not look like a legitimate or a mile that I in and out. It's the area to is understanding what you're saying in the way that you think that they should understand it. And that might not be the case. It might not be the case. And this complication what's that? All right, Professor. Hey, thank you for coming on. Go ahead and handle your thing right there. So this interaction that two people can have can go on for a long time without any correction, without any relationship. It is between spouses, between parents, between teachers. Yeah, I see the disruption. That happens when you drive while you're live. So that communicative skill is of the utmost importance. Professionals in the field of communications, they use so many things that people are unaware of. The world of marketing uses things that people are just not aware of. Colors, smells, anything that has to do with all of your senses. Any research provided from the biological community, the historical, the history community, the psychological community, anything that could be used as part of the communicative process, they use. I remember in New York City, I'm watching a city bus, public transportation bus, driving by. On the sides of the bus, you have signs for advertising purposes. And here is I think it was just a shape and two colors, if I remember correctly. A shape and two colors. That was the ad. A shape and two colors. And it was enough to convey a message. To me, and I'm pretty sure to a lot of people, the message was loud and clear. With just a shape and two colors, you knew exactly what the suggestion was. And it had to do with Coca-Cola. The shape of the bottle and the colors red and white. The shape of that bottle is unique and can probably only be used by Coca-Cola. They probably patented that shape or did whatever they have to do to secure the use of that shape or to create a bottle with that shape, or whether it be plastic or whatever. That shape is iconic. And all they had to do was use that iconic shape along with the colors red and white. That's it. and the communication took place. Your mother called? Okay, you back? Okay. I hope your mother's well. Yeah, she got some sausages for Double D, man. And I'm hoping that he starts filming before he unpacks the box when it arrives. I want to see the look on his face as he opens the box and discovers all that meat for him. Those long fat sausages, and hopefully he'll pan the camera so that we can watch him holding his brand new meat. That would be awesome. Oh, Sip, I'm on my way to Pennsylvania. I gotta deliver some food products to Pennsylvania. It's at minus 10 degrees. And when you got a refrigerated trailer, you got to pay close attention to make sure that the trailer doesn't shut off on the way through your journey, because you have to get somebody to repair it immediately. The shipper puts a thermometer inside the trailer somewhere. It could be inside one of the pallets, or it could be on the side of the trailer. I wouldn't know where they put it. I do know that they put. I definitely knew that they were putting it on this load, because as I'm checking in to get assigned a door, the person I'm checking into is putting the paperwork together for my load, and I noticed the thermometer on the paperwork. So it's probably common practice with that shipper to add a thermometer along with the loads that they send, especially when they're frozen loads. They don't want the merchandise defrosting. The shipper, when they look at the thermometer, they can reject the entire load, and it could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So the receiver, so the receiver probably paid to make sure that the shipper had thermometers available to put on the load so that they can check it. That's the type of loss that the insurance companies usually pick up, which means that you're going to be paying a higher premium from that moment on, or they're gonna use every excuse to make it the carrier's fault. The carrier being the trucking company that has the responsibility of transporting whatever it is. They're going to look for any and all reasons to put the blame on the carrier, and let the carrier's insurance cover the cost of the loss of that product. Right, Brandon. It does. Some of them do turn red, and that's how the receiver knows. Hey, there was a time that the trailer wasn't operating correctly, so we're not accepting the load. That's one of the things that owner-operators, or people who have their own authority, especially people who have their own authority, that's one of the things that they have to be careful of when they transport refrigerated goods, food related especially. I picked up watermelons in Florida, took it to a Kroger distribution center. Kroger, I guess, goes through the bins. They put the watermelon in these bins. I don't know how many watermelons are in each bin, but the process takes a while because they go through the bins, they go through the watermelons. I don't know how meticulous they are, but I do know that if they find, let's say, one watermelon that's not looking too good, then they can reject the entire load. And if you have your own authority, well, they're gonna charge your insurance company for that. So if there are any truck drivers that plan on establishing their own authority and dedicating themselves to refrigerated loads, which pay more, however, by what I'm telling you right now, you should already determine that there's a different level of risk involved. And a higher cost of operating. Your insurance is going to charge you more. And you're also going to be paying more in fuel because you got to fuel up the trailer. How you like them apples? Oh, you remember the watermelon store? Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't just happen with that. Ice cream. Woo! Man, when you transport ice cream, that trail, and that's another thing. They check how old the trailer is also. You can put in for a load. You can put into a broker for a load. Go on the load board, see a load that you're interested in, and it's a refrigerated load. And you can bid that load, but they're going to want to know how old your trailer is. If it's too old, they won't assign you that load. They'll reject your bid. Oh, really? So she gets to see the Saturday Night Lives later on after it's posted. That's awesome. That is awesome. Y'alls, here we go, y'alls. We are approaching the state border between Illinois and Indiana. Here we go, y'alls. I got 2 hours and 53 minutes of drive time left before I have to take no, that's total. Ooh-wee. So I have a total of 2 hours and 53 minutes of drive time remaining before I have to stop, totally stop. And I've got 587 miles to go. I picked up this load in, whoa, did you see how close this guy got to me when he pulled in front of the truck? Dangerous. I picked it up in Washington State. Picked it up in Washington State, and now we're headed to the East Coast. Is that Double D? Nah, that's not Double D. That's Double D. Butter. Oh, Double D. You missed it. You missed it, Double D. It's all good. Because soon you're not going to miss it. You're going to be happy. You're going to be so very happy. Look at this. Exit only. So I have to get out of this lane. I'm grateful that the vehicle behind me was another truck. And the driver was considerate enough to move over. First, he allowed for a gap so that I can get in. Because he was going slightly faster than I was, but took that foot off the gas pedal. I noticed. Now he, what do you call it? I don't know. I'm thinking about stopping. I gotta be at the delivery. Tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. So I don't have enough hours to make it for today. So I think I'm gonna pull over and call it a day. Sorry that it had to end this way. Yeah, right. No, I'm glad. Driving a tractor trailer can be extremely stressful. In case people didn't know. Extremely stressful. And happy Monday to you as well. Double D, Sip is here. I don't know if you saw him. Sip is here. Sip had put on some content about what's going on with the stallion. Got some friction going on with her boyfriend. And people are commenting about that, about her boyfriend's performance, because he's a professional basketball player and they're all up in his business. Saying some unnecessary stuff, really. Yeah, from the Sippers in the house. IPC, interpersonal communication. It's a great skill to develop. It'll help you incredibly at work, in your business, with your family, with your friends. I was in a group. This one, oh, when it comes to communication, this one really made an impact for me, at least. I was a part of a men's group suggested to me by my sister-in-law, who knows me well enough to recommend this men's group. And it was challenging for a while, because in this group you really had to learn how to listen. You had to learn how to listen. And maybe somebody listening to this might think, that's easy. But I'm going to tell you right now, it was difficult for me. It was difficult. Now, granted, it would be difficult to actually exchange the way we exchanged with each other in a typical setting between human beings communicating, because there were some in this group, there were some parameters laid down, but everybody was aware of the parameters. So if someone did something or didn't do something that you would normally do interacting with people, hey, you're back. Sunflower, you're back. I'll give you an example. If you're talking to somebody, they would typically nod their head to let that they're listening, or say something like "yup," or however, in this particular group, you weren't supposed to do that. You were supposed to just look at the person that's speaking. We would be divided into smaller groups. You would have to look at the person speaking at the time, look at the person speaking, and you don't nod in agreement. You don't let them know, hey, yeah, I hear what you're saying. You know, the typical things that people do in the course of a conversation. So you have to sit there, listen to everything they have to say, and then later on construct questions about what they said. And even the type of question that you asked had to be in such a way that you didn't lead them on to your bias. It was tough. I found it difficult, but it was effective in allowing a person to tap into their emotions in association with whatever internal conflict they had going on. So in this group, there was no shaming. There was no shaming. And whatever event in your life that was causing internal conflict, you were free to tap into all the events associated with what was causing the internal conflict. And if it made you feel a certain way, well then, hey, you can roll with it. You can roll with it without judgment. And it was powerful. How do I look on TV, D? Do I look like a highway? That group was amazing. Amazing. And it was a place where a man can be whatever he wanted to be. No judgment. None of that man up stuff. If someone tapped into something in their past that caused them sadness or made them cry or made them feel a certain way, 100% allowed, 100% encouraged. It was our own little personal space with people that we learned to feel comfortable. Feel comfortable. People go through things and they suppress emotions associated with the things that they go through, and it can cause internal damage. You gotta understand, your brain does things. All right, Sib, thank you for coming on. And your brain will trigger off certain glands depending on the movie that your subconscious mind is playing, and the chemicals that are released can tear your internal organs up. So imagine years of something that happened to you in your life, and you did everything possible not to process it because you're a man. You're not supposed to cry. Happy Monday, Bambi. So imagine, you gotta man up, whatever that means. And so you're told since you're a child, hey, you're a boy, you can't cry. That's not allowed. And you wind up holding in all this crazy stuff. Uh-oh. Am I getting off the wrong exit? I might be. Did I pass the exit I wanted to get? Where that at? Bambi makes some amazing content. Oh my God. And yes, I did get off the wrong exit. Jeez Louise. I might have to go back on the highway and head northbound. No, not northbound, westbound. Yeah, I might have to. I took the wrong eximus. Ooh, you didn't see that. So we gotta go west. To get on the right exit. I mean, I'm doing this because I'm calling it a night. What kind of hot fudge sundae's going on over here? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got off the wrong exit. Okay, D, you're listening? Thank you. Thanks for letting me know. So since you're a child and because you're a male, you're told you can't cry. And a lot of nonsense attached to stuff like that. You're expected to be detached from your emotions. And here we go. There's the correct exit. And it's not that, because I when it comes to, I'm always telling people that you need to check your emotions. comes to your money. When you're going to make a decision that has to do with investing or business, there's money involved, you should definitely put your emotions in check. And putting your emotions in check at the moment doesn't mean that you don't feel, because if you put your heart and soul into a business and your money and you suffer a loss, it's going to hurt. That's an emotion. There's going to be pain. There's going to be pain. Now, how you respond to that pain, well, if you have to make a decision, you have to put that pain aside. If it's business, if it's investing, your best to do that. It may be too difficult, and that's understandable, because if you're losing money, yeah, it's and that pain might convert into anger, which doesn't help you either when it comes to business and investing. But there are events in your life that cause emotional responses. It doesn't mean you don't have to feel that. It doesn't mean that you're not supposed to feel that. That's not what that means. Doesn't mean that you don't have to feel that. I'm reaching my destination for the day, or where I'm going to pull up. I'm going to go into this Love's exit 9, by the way, on might be part of Gary, Indiana. I'm trying right now to remember the name. Hey, Candy K. Wow. I was, Candy, it would have been awesome if you were available to come on up and help me talk about the, how should I call it? Help me talk about controlling emotions, not avoiding. Well, I don't even know how to express it, to be honest with you. Yeah, Candy, this is me on the road. That's what you're looking at. Like I said, I'm not sure if I am in Gary, Indiana, but I'm very close to Gary, Indiana. I'm gonna be here for a little while, and this particular truck stop has Middle Eastern cuisine, which I'm about to indulge in. Maybe hit some falafels or something. Yeah, Candy K, I was talking about interpersonal communications. I was also
in the fight, using his sole weapon. It was quite possible that he would have had a really difficult.
How did that happen? How did that click in? I was. Yeah, no, but they're actually pretty good. They're actually pretty good. They're surprisingly good, actually. I forget the name of the restaurant, but they're all over the place now. Right, so Candy, it would have been nice if I can if I could have had you so we can discuss something associated with interpersonal communicative skills and the importance in our lives, whether it be business, whether it be a specific job that you have, or even the benefits of using or having excellent interpersonal communicative skills for your home life, for your family, for your friends, and things of that nature. Yeah, hey, hook it up. Aha, the school bus. Yup. And I was explaining to everybody how I was part of a men's group and the challenge associated with being in that group, where you had to learn how to listen. And I had mentioned before that it may sound simple, listening to people. It may sound simple, but because of the conditions that were set in the group, it was hard. It was difficult. It was not easy. At least not for me. It was not easy. You had to listen. So we would start off in a large group, and then we would split off into smaller groups, we would split off into smaller groups. Now here's the thing. The difference, Lord have mercy, how far back do I need to go? The difference is that is this a tough place? This seems like a tough place to park, but we're gonna leave it right here. Right. You're the conditions that are set is that you're to sit there and let the person who's talking, and this is all done on Zoom, but you have to sit there. Aha! Yeah, okay, Candy. Yeah, so you understand. How do I interpret what you just said? I'm a blabbermouth? Yeah. However, Double D's going to be happy when that package arrives, Homestead. Okay, so the person speaking can see the others who are listening, or the person that's listening. It could be one-on-one. And the person listening are not supposed to give you cues that people normally use to let you know that they're paying attention. For example, if you are talking to somebody, sometimes they'll nod, right, in agreement, or just nod, shake their head, or they might say something like "yup," or "I hear that," or something else. You're supposed to give those cues. You're supposed to let them express themselves, and you can interject a question, but the question has to be formed a certain way. You shouldn't use the line of questioning to steer someone. And so it in your line of questioning, you can't, you're not supposed to provide them with some type of validation through agreement. That's the best way I can explain it right now. Oh, thank you, Kendi. And I had to learn to listen in this group. So